Hi, thanks again for attending. We were talking about scales today and mostly relating them to the piano because we have lots of people who understood piano lingo. So that made it a little bit easier to kind of talk about that stuff on a given instrument because I know that really helped me. I learned a lot of it. Just a little bird walk, sorry, but I learned a lot of the stuff on the guitar. And in college, ended up learning a lot more of it on the piano. So I don't feel like I think about a lot of this stuff on any particular instrument in my head now, but if I have to think really hard about something, my brain always goes to guitar because it is my primary instrument. And it's the one that I learned a lot of stuff on in the first place. So whenever I think about music theory rules, I end up thinking about it on my primary instrument, which is guitar. And that's kind of the advantage that no matter how many instruments you go out there and learn, still have one that you consider, your strongest. And it's a good way, at least, so that whenever you have to think about stuff on another instrument, you're thinking back to the other one. It's kind of like having learning two languages kind of thing, that if you're a good English speaker and still learning Spanish, a lot of times you're still translating in your head when you speak over it. Either way, okay, there's my bird walk. We talked about scales and the pattern of a major. Well, we talked about the 12-tone octave. So like an A to an A, having all the notes living in between the A sharp and B flat, B, C, C sharp and D flat, D, D sharp and E flat, E, F, F sharp and G flat, G, G sharp and A flat. And remembering that E and F and B and C are special. They don't have a black key in between them. They're always a half step apart from each other, versus everything else is a whole step. Remember, a whole step is when you travel two notes, and a half step is when you only travel one key. That's on every instrument too. So remember, the pattern of a major scale is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. 2 wholes and a half, and then 3 wholes and a half. You can start on a C, and if you apply that pattern, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, you end up on nothing but white keys. So works out really nicely. That's why it's everybody's favorite key. The key of C, the C major scale, no sharps, no flats. If you started on a G, you'd go G, G, whole step to A, whole step to B, B, half step to C, C, whole step to D, D, whole step to E, E, whole step to F sharp, and then an F sharp whole step to G. So this one ended up with a sharp. And remember that we called this an F sharp and not a G flat, because then we would have been lacking a letter in our musical alphabet. We didn't want G, A, B, C, D, E, G flat, G. We would have had no F, and we'd have 2 Gs. So that'd be a big problem when it came to analyzing this later on. So that's why that's the reasoning why we would call this an F sharp versus a G flat. Well, thank you so much for attending. Hopefully that all made some sense. And maybe if you guys get a chance to attend the next one, we could use some of this knowledge to understand chords. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys next time.